Welcome into today's video, and today we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of the college football 12-team playoff. Now, this is all opinion based, so please don't hate me on the cross if you disagree, but we're going to start off with not what I think is the problem, but I think what confused people into thinking it was the problem.
Second down against the three-man rush. Launching downfield. Darius Davis is wide open. Has to wait in the throw. But weaves his way.
Yes, the Georgia Bulldogs and TCU National Championship game. The game that seemed to make everybody go crazy, and not the good type of crazy. The crazy that led people to think that TCU didn't belong in that game. Now, granted, we forget Georgia Bulldogs were that dominant those 2 seasons now, all right? And TCU didn't just walk into the national championship. They did beat a really good Michigan team in the game before the championship, albeit some controversy, obviously. But this game made people think TCU and teams like TCU didn't belong in the championship. I mean, this caused more of an uproar than the FSU incident of them not making the playoff. You would think an undefeated 13-0 Power 5 team winning their conference would cause more of a ruckus than TCU did. But we're not going to spend too much time on that. We're about to get into what is the biggest con of this college football playoff. So this is the bracket of what it would have looked like had the season ended and we use a college football 12-team format, right? And what people seem to do is use a TCU Georgia game as a cop-out for why Florida State got taken out because they didn't have their star player. What I want people to do is not to act like, or stop acting like, it's uncommon for these lower Power 5 schools, these high group of 5 schools, and even some mid-major schools going out there and upsetting these so-called college football playoff teams. It is perfectly common. Obviously, the committee doesn't want to take that chance on the big stage, but I do feel like at some point we got to stop using the TCU incident as a cop-out. Even Florida State. Now, granted, Florida State did get that bid and get absolutely annihilated in the playoff. It's a bid that they've earned, but we are going to get into the biggest con of this bracket. Now, you see your top 4, right? You see your Alabamas, your Michigans, and your Texas. Now, I won't mention Washington just because they're obviously about to go into a rebuild, but the top 4, for the most part, will never change. It will always be your Michigans, your Georgia Bulldogs, always, and you're also going to see some of your Texas Longhorns. They're going to be in the mix for it every single year. But then you get into your Alabamas, who are also going through a switch in their program, and then we get into the biggest con here. Teams like Alabama, your Ohio States, even your Florida States tend to go through seasons where they dominate to come out the gate. They always do. But then they drop a game they should not have dropped. Iowa is a good example of this as well. Good team, always ranked, but seem to always miss it come playoff time in the 4-man format. They are normally your 5 to 9 seeds you normally see every year. And a great example of that team is Notre Dame. Now, a 12-team playoff benefits those type of teams. Although Notre Dame did have the gauntlet, I feel like the end all gauntlets of schedules this past season, but that's not the committee's fault, you know. And what I'm saying is, what this 12-team format really does is it's giving teams who normally lose a game they shouldn't lost, normally, I guess the term you can say choke. They normally choke a game away, have a game that they were clearly the favorites, but ended up losing. Those are the teams this benefits from. Your Georgias, your Bamas, not your Bamas, but your Georgias, your Texas, all those teams you'll see in the playoff every year, they'll always round up your top 4. But essentially, we're telling teams, hey, it's okay to lose. You still got another chance. There's a 12-team chance. Versus the college football playoff, when it was 4 teams, really did bring out the best in teams. I mean, we had James Madison out here playing like they were already in the D1 level, playing like they didn't have a postseason ban on their bowl game. Now, would it be fun to see those type of schools go in the 14 playoff? Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's not a chance the committee is willing to take in a 14 playoff. That is a con. But that is what this 12-team playoff is essentially doing. It's telling teams, hey, it's okay to lose. It's okay to lose a game. It's okay to drop 2, maybe even 3. And that's another problem the committee is going to run into. Is you're going to have a team that could be ranked number 10, could be ranked number 12. I believe Missouri was a good case for it this year. You're going to have a 3-loss team not competing for their conference championship, not competing for anything, just having that conference week, just another bye week for them. You're going to have them as ranked number 10, number 9 more than likely. All because they maybe beat maybe they were the 1 in Alabama, but they dropped 3 games to Colorado and Stanford. That's going to be your team rounding up your 10 through 12 spots. And if we have a problem with a 13-1 TCU or even a 12-0 James Madison or a 13-0 UCF making the playoff, how do you think a team like, I'm just going to use Missouri as an example, a 9-3 Missouri team is going to fare when they run into a highly charged Georgia Bulldogs team? Now, the committee took a chance with the Cincinnati Bearcats and put them in the playoff, and even though that game ended in a blowout, it's very hard to tell an undefeated team you can't get in, which is why Florida State's incident should have caused an uproar, but it did not, because they're not on that level of your Ohio States, your Penn States, your Oregons, who's also on the come up, who's also going to benefit from a 12-team playoff. So that way, when they lose to the same team twice every year, they have a chance to come back and get it back. But is that really the atmosphere we want to give college football, college sports, really, sports in general? Are we going to keep telling teams, hey, it's okay to lose 2 games. You'll get it back at the postseason. All you got to do is make the top 12. Then you're going to have teams going out there not trying that hard at all. That's my biggest con. And I appreciate you for listening. Leave a like and a nasty comment for me in the comment section. Peace.